Oh, you startled me. You're back. It's time for writing. Oh, I was just in the middle of reading Charlotte's Web, an awesome story. Remember, every amazing writer reads lots of stories to get awesome ideas. And that's just what I was doing. How's your monster stories coming along? I bet you guys are doing fabulous. Well, we're going to go back to planning our story because the reason we're walking through the steps of making a plan is every great story has a plan. We already finished step 1 of setting our scene and introducing our characters. Step 2 of introducing our problem that our monster had to go away somewhere. And now we have to do steps 3, 4, and 5. 3 and 4 simply are us having 2 monsters come visit us. They're substitutes, and they just won't do. Since this is just an outline, we're just getting the basics down of what we'll elaborate on and write more about later. Here we go. It's back to our planning sheet. So we are planning our story. We did step 1 and 2, like I said, and now step 3, we're adding details and the problem gets worse. So for my detail, my first detail I put in is that a substitute monster appeared. My substitute monster was too skinny, had a squeaky voice, and had a long mustache. If you notice, I just did a quick outline of what that monster is going to be like. I'm going to really elaborate on this in my writing, but again, I want to have an outline in place so that when I sit down to write my actual story, all my ideas are already mapped out. So you can pause the video and think of what monster you want to visit you first, and then just jot down a quick description of that monster. Make sure you do something different than Mrs. Cluin, because I know you guys have much better ideas than I do. Moving on to my next problem, another monster appears, another substitute, and this time the monster's name is Rupert. He has a really long tongue and he slobbered a lot. Again, I'm just writing a really short description of the second monster that visited me. And then when we get to our writing, we're actually going to use voice in our writing. And that's when we're going to add in lots of dialogue back and forth between us and our monsters that appear. But for right now, just get down the description of the second monster that visits you. Pause here, do that work, and then I'll see you in a minute. So our final step of planning our story is solving the problem. So I wrote, Mabel returned. It turns out that Parisians were too easy to scare, and she needed someone challenging to scare, like Karina. So Parisians are people from Paris. So remember, in my story, Mabel went to see the Eiffel Tower in Paris. So then she returns, and that's my happy ending. Again, this is just a rough sketch of our story. Our story is going to be much more exciting than this, but we just want an outline to follow. So when we do start writing our story, it flows really well, because it's easy for an author to get sidetracked and not to stay to the storyline, and then the reader of the story gets confused or sometimes bored. So I hope by now today you'll finish up the plan of your story, and then we'll have our story structure, and tomorrow we'll get down to the nitty-gritty and we'll actually begin our writing. I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to look at the final version of my plan in Seesaw. See you soon.